We get it. It's free agency. That's what we're talking about.
That's pretty much the transaction of every agent and player this past week in NBA free agency. My goodness, there's been a lot of money thrown out at some of these guys. This is Youngspeak Sports. This is Youngspeak Sports here. And we're going to talk about NBA free agency today, as well as a few other topics just to get away from the NBA a little bit. We're going to talk about DeAndre Johnson out of Florida State and the whole ordeal going on there with his video coming out today of him punching a woman in a bar. That whole thing is kind of sad. It's kind of raised all over again, but we'll look into that a little bit. Also, we're going to talk about the U.S. women's soccer team winning the FIFA World Cup yesterday, Sunday, July 5th, and Rory McIlroy injured himself playing soccer. And we're going to talk about our off-topic this week is whether it's better to fail at something or to never try it at all. So we'll go into the NBA free agency real quick, and we're going to go over just some of the contracts of the top guys and our overall thoughts. So if anybody wants to start out, go for it. No one cares to start out, huh? All right, I'll go ahead. These guys are getting ridiculous money. First off, I just want to say, why would you play football anymore, considering the contracts that NBA players and MLB players are getting? Like, look at this. Chris Middleton got $70 million. I mean, the Bucks literally paid the epitome of average, $70 million. And the best receiver in the NFL, Dez Bryant, is probably not even going to make $70 million.
He's not the best.
According to NFL, the NFL Network, their top 100, apparently Julio Jones is better than him.
No, I'm just saying Calvin Johnson's better.
I think Dez Bryant pretty much settled that with a simple LOL. If you haven't seen that tweet, go check it out. It's literally just LOL at the NFL Network for making that, assumption or that ranking. That's ridiculous. But that's a whole nother topic here. Anyway, let's go ahead and start out with LaMarcus Aldridge. Big free agent here this offseason. Ended up with the Spurs as I thought he would go for 4 years, $80 million. What are your guys' thoughts on this one particularly?
Great for the Spurs. Great for him too. He's going to learn a lot under Tim Duncan and under Pop. And, I think he's going to mold into the system right away.
I mean, it really is the perfect system for Aldridge to thrive in. I mean, he was obviously the top marquee free agent out there. I mean, he just takes the Spurs to a whole other level. And, they just became top dog in the West.
There's no doubt. There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. There's no doubt to it that the Spurs are most likely going to be in contention for the number one seed, as they have been for the past years. But now it's even more solidified because of the free agency moves they have made. It's hard to bet against them at this point.
I think they're undoubtedly the best team in the West right now. Give credit to Golden State. They're a solid team, no doubt. But San Antonio seems to be on another level here with LaMarcus Aldridge and Tim Duncan down low is probably the best duo of big men in the league at this point, off the top of my head. I can't think of anybody better, especially from a playoff perspective when you got a guy like Tim Duncan with all that playoff experience. And then, they're just solid all the way around. Obviously you have Greg Popovich. You can't go wrong there. They just added David West today, July 6th, for a minimum contract. He declined his 12-year contract, $12 million contract with the Pacers. And
it's 12-year contract. I don't think anybody. That's that.
Well, hey, it could be possible. There's those baseball players who are still getting paid by the New York Mets.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's off the point here. $12 million a year contract with the Pacers and took a $1.5 million contract with the San Antonio Spurs instead, just based off the fact that he wants to win now. Sorry there, Nick. No offense to you. But
Uh,
LaMarcus Aldridge to the Spurs made the most sense to me from the get-go. I'm not really sure why he even spent several days visiting with teams like the Lakers and the Suns and even the Heat for that matter. The Spurs are the best team that could have given him a contract. He gets to be the guy after Tim Duncan. He gets to learn from Tim Duncan, one of the greatest power forwards, if not the best power forward ever to play.
The best power forward.
The best?
The best.
Okay.
You're
I
gonna
won't,
throw
I won't
you're gonna
debate
throw
you.
Karl Malone out there. I know you are, but
I won't
Tim
debate.
Duncan is the best power forward to ever play.
yeah,
I can't disagree.
Agree. Tim Duncan is the best power forward to ever play this game.
I can't
Yeah,
debate that. That's fair
I
to
can
say.
agree.
So yeah, learning from a guy like him, and I think Aldridge is very similar to how Tim Duncan plays, that kind of same playing style. So I think San Antonio is gonna be good. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I mean, their first six is just. I mean, it was already good, but now it's just so much better. I mean, you lose Tiago and you get LaMarcus Aldridge. I'd say that's fair enough.
I mean, they've almost had an unfair offseason.
I don't think the Spurs really care. So I really think Golden State's going to get the first seed. That's what I want to say because I don't think the Spurs care where they are in the playoffs as long as they make it because they know they can pretty much beat any team in the playoffs. That's almost what happened with the Clippers this year. Like when they were playing, I mean, they took them to 7. I thought they were going to win, but I mean, they could have gotten a much higher seed during the regular season, but they want to sit out other player. I mean, they want to sit out Tim Duncan. They want to sit out Tony Parker, give them rest when they need to. So I don't think they're going to win 65 plus because they have no reason to.
The biggest thing for the Spurs, especially the last few years, their biggest concern is being healthy instead of where they are in the playoffs. I mean, they like to be in the top 1 or 2 seeds, but it really doesn't mean anything if they're not healthy.
Well, yeah, and that's why they'll usually sit players out before the playoffs in order to get healthy. But
Throughout the entire season.
yeah. Sorry, that's what I meant. But Nick, you were talking about them losing some depth with losing Corey Joseph and some of their other guys. Those are guys that can be replaced, though.
Of
Marco
course.
Bellinelli is irreplaceable,
But-
and I will
but
not have you
also,
say otherwise.
Even when you say they could be replaced, they've been in that system for at least 4 years now.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's a whole different ballgame when it becomes you're practically getting a complete new team when you replace those guys. I mean, they'll still contribute.
To be
it's
fair,
still really different.
Well,
to be fair, Bellinelli has only been with the Spurs for, I want to say 2 or 3 years, not as long as you might think.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying he's been there for more than a season, and he's not completely new.
There you go.
I think when you add in LaMarcus Aldridge into the picture, all of those concerns go away quickly, though.
Yeah, true.
Because he's going to play during the regular season, while Tim Duncan may not be playing. So he provides that star power, I guess you could say, that consistent scoring threat, someone that you can actually count on day in, day out to produce for you. So, I mean, I'm not really going to get concerned over losing a couple depth guys.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's a concern. I just say it's going to affect them getting to 65 games, like you say. I just don't see that happening.
Yeah.
I don't at all.
Well, what about the Cavaliers? You think they can get to 65 games now? They've been very active here. They re-signed Kevin Love for 5 years, $110 million.
It's all about the health thing. Just
Yeah.
depends on how everybody. I mean, Kyrie tends to get hurt. Always.
LeBron's not getting hurt.
LeBron.
Well, LeBron's not
has-
on the Cavaliers.
He is.
I mean,
He
right now
is.
he's not on the Cavaliers, so
Like right now his situation is he's basically telling, "Hey, GM, I want this guy on my team. I want this guy on my team. I want this guy on my team, and I still
I'll
want
take the
this
rest
amount
of
of
the
money."
money. Well, no, he's basically saying I'll take the rest of the money.
Yeah.
Maybe.
No, because otherwise,
Maybe.
what do you think he's doing,
Well,
Hayden? Do you think
apparently
he's
he said he's
figuring out
waiting
what
on.
team he wants to be on? He's waiting on
No,
Tristan
apparently
Thompson,
he's
isn't he?
waiting for Tristan Thompson to sign, and then he'll
Yeah,
sign his contract.
he'll take whatever money he wants after Tristan Thompson, just because he wants Tristan Thompson on the team because he's important.
I mean,
How
he's
are they
getting
I
going?
20,
don't
he's
think they're
getting 20
getting
million either
most
way.
money.
How are they
What
going
about
to?
this Joe Johnson thing?
I was about to say that, but hold on. Like, how are they planning to afford all of these
No,
players
the
exactly?
thing is because they're resigning their own players, they can go as far into the luxury tax as they want. They can't like sign a random free agent for really any amount of money right now, more than like $4 or $5 million. But when you're resigning your own players, the new CBA and everything and the cap, you can you can pay them as much as you want.
Well, I guess Dan Gilbert's just the new Donald
Or
Trump, huh?
You're just paying more in luxury tax. Like they're going
wait,
to be
what is the
paying.
trade for Joe Johnson right now?
Yeah, they're trading them for
They're trying
Brendan
to
Hayes.
get,
It's
yeah,
going to
Brendan
be
Hayes.
They're
it's
looking to try
yeah,
to get a deal,
it,
send Brennan Haywood and Anderson Varejao to the Nets. The Nets would then waive
Johnson
uh, Hayward's contract because it's not guaranteed.
guaranteed.
None of it is guaranteed, so that would save them money as well, and they'd get
Okay, and
Varejao.
but
Well,
how
Joe Johnson would
does it add up
probably
to
have
Joe
to
Johnson's contract?
It
Yeah,
does.
no, it does because Verjao and Haywood are both 10 million, pretty much.
Really? And
Hayward is
Joe's like what, 9?
10.6, and I think
Verjao
Varejao is
just under
about
10.
9.6 or 9.5.
Yeah,
I still don't understand why Cleveland would want to take on Joe Johnson's individual contract, though.
Because it's only
He's only
one
got
year
1 year left,
yeah,
player.
it's his last
And
year.
shots.
but
Well, they pretty much said they want to go. I feel like this would anger
you can
LeBron
get
though because
you,
Verjao and him are
you can get a
like
lot more than Joe Johnson for $20 million, though.
Oh yeah. No, I
it's just no
totally
one
agree.
wants the contracts.
Well, I didn't think people wanted to play with Joe Johnson. I mean he takes so many shots, and I just feel like he would take things away from LeBron rather than give things to him. But if he'll accept his role and just be like somebody that LeBron can pass to be a shooter, then I say go for it.
Hmm.
LeBron's trying to recruit everybody now to Cleveland. I mean, it's kind of funny. It's like Miami all over again.
It's exactly what it is because it's LeBron. I mean,
It's the LeBron
he's gonna
effect,
get.
huh?
Yeah, I mean, think about it. Doesn't everybody basically want to play LeBron aside from the other superstars that think they can do it on their own, which they really can't because
Kobe.
LeBron's the best.
Well,
Yeah,
LeBron
for real.
seems to be able to do it on his own.
Literally, he can do it on his own.
Yeah, I know he really can.
Well,
Has he?
technically,
Has he?
he,
This
he
year
can.
he did not, and when he was with the Cavs, when he went to the finals, his first time he did not. When he was with
Got
Miami, he had a
slipped.
team around him. It may not have been a complete team. It may have been the worst bench of all time, but he still had Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh making up for everything else,
Okay,
which is
I
why
Wait,
he
wait,
won
wait,
those
wait,
championships.
wait.
He still needs people, which is
I feel
why
like
he's
we
doing
should.
this. He
I feel
can't
like
do it on his own.
Chris has a great point on this, but I feel like we should throw out the 2008 2007 Cavs team. I mean, that was practically a high school team around LeBron. I was
It truly
embarrassed.
was.
Well, I don't think we ever defined it. I think we were just talking about like playing in general. I mean, he did get to the NBA Finals literally with no one, so
Yes.
that in
Didn't
itself
win it.
is. No, he did not win it.
That was just that. That's just as impressive as
Yeah,
pretty
probably.
much anything else he's done.
I
Let's
mean,
be
that's.
honest.
I think him getting to the finals with that Cavs team, even this year and the last time he went, is honestly probably more impressive than winning if he was in per
Okay,
se
never
Miami. I don't
mind.
know, but
It would be more impressive if he would have won. That's the thing. He still
Okay,
lost.
hold on. Off topic question. I mean, not really off topic, but just a question. Um, wasn't that like the 07-08 season? Wasn't that in the conference finals? I think in the third quarter of a game, he had like all the team's points, like 26.
yeah, he had
I think he had all of their
20
points.
something in a row.
I think it was like I think he scored like 23 points in a row, like consecutive.
I
Yep.
thought he had all their points in one quarter. I
No,
swear
he
I thought he
did,
did.
but it was literally 23 consecutive points.
Yeah.
Like he didn't like miss or anything.
Oh my!
Yeah,
That is crazy.
is that not good enough for you, Christopher?
Seriously, is that not doing it on your own?
He didn't do it on his own, though. He didn't win.
What's it?
It doesn't matter. He took them all the
Championship
way.
is it. That's the goal. He didn't do it on his own.
It is the goal.
When
Then
I
you're
say
then you're agreeing
There's
with
only
me.
one achievement in an entire NBA career that's winning a championship. I was asking you a question.
Say that again.
I said, is there only one achievement in the NBA that's winning a title? Is that the only achievement there is?
I never said that. Not at all.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
just
that's
saying
it.
LeBron.
You said it's winning a
he's
championship. That's all that matters.
That's not what I said. I said he did not win the championship, therefore he
We know
cannot
that.
do it on his own. I'm not saying a championship is the only thing that matters, but yet again, we're getting away from free agency, but I don't care at this point. LeBron is the greatest player in the game. He can't do it on his own. He still needs people around him.
Okay, Hayes,
That's my
earlier
point.
you said
You guys
we didn't
took
define
it
what
this
it
way.
is, but now I understand your question because
Well,
he
yes.
can't do it on his own.
If
What
we're
is it?
talking-
I guess
if
win
we're-
championships? No. Take them there? Yes.
If we're suggesting it is winning an NBA title, no. LeBron James is not going to win an NBA title on his own, but he can get pretty close.
As close as one player can get.
But he didn't carry the Heat to those titles, as
No.
Dwayne Wade
Well, I
said
mean-
today.
Yeah, that's my
Awesome.
point.
Just
Well, I
great,
mean-
great line by Dwayne Wade. Just love him even more.
Well, he did
Still on
that
a-
last year.
Guys.
What?
He had to carry Dwayne Wade because Dwayne Wade had no knees.
He's
Can we stop it with the Dwayne Wade knees joke?
anatomically he has knees.
Bionically, he has
I
knees.
feel like D Wade's too much of a nice guy to be made fun of anymore.
Wow, that was actually. I can't believe you just said that.
Yeah, but did you hear me? I said it's a shame that he's on a dying franchise.
You never said that. You said
No, I
that in a text
Really said that
message.
30 seconds ago.
Okay,
I wouldn't call it
explain
dying.
to
I'd
me
call
how
it
it's a
more dead
dying
than anything.
franchise. I'd like
Oh,
to hear
it's a
this
dying
explanation.
franchise because you're a fan of it. That's why. That's the sole reason. I'm just yanking your chain.
I
You
don't
haven't
have
said
a
anything about the
chain.
Knicks.
I don't have a chain to be yanked.
Okay.
I literally, I don't even know if I have a chain. I've never seen a
Okay,
chain.
enough talking about it, yanking each other's chains. Let's
Can we
get
get
back
back
to
to
free
free
agency.
agency?
Well, I was trying to talk about Dwayne Wade signing a 1-year, $20 million contract with the Heat.
Ah, that's where you're going with that.
Huh.
Yeah. See, I'm so
Um,
good that you guys
Well,
don't even
let's
know
get
I
that fast. We
transitioned.
still complained.
It's just disguise, man. I think that is a very loud contract. I did not think he would actually sign for $20 million. I get that there's a lot of history there, so he deserves a good bit of money, but $20 million I'm not so sure about. You'd rather bring some new talent in rather than keep a guy that'll play probably half the games. I would have thought like 14, 15 million would be good enough, but guess not.
Well, let's look at it from this perspective. He had two options on the table, supposedly. This contract or a longer term 3-year contract that was probably worth $35 million. So he'd be earning less per year.
I'm saying it's good for him, but I'm surprised that he did that.
No, this is why they did it. For one, it's only a
Look.
1-year deal, which is great for the Heat. Really, you only want Dwayne Wade probably for 1 or 2 more years. I think $20 million is kind of irrelevant at this point because it's not like
Everybody's
they're going to
gone.
really sign anybody else anyway.
Yeah.
And you needed Dwayne Wade. I mean, you had to have Dwayne Wade back here.
And
if Wade
look at
doesn't
it this way.
return, you aren't making any kind of run without Dwayne Wade.
Yeah,
It's
And look
pretty
at
much as
this.
simple
Look at
as
this
that.
way.
That's the point.
What's gonna sell more tickets? Dwayne Wade for 20 million or two middle of the road guys for 10 million?
Certainly Dwayne Wade for $20 million.
There you
Yeah.
go. It's a smart move financially for the. I mean, sure financially in the future they're going to be selling more. They're going to bringing in more revenue because of this. That's one of the benefits of it. I mean, if you have a chance to keep your franchise player, do it. That's the mentality of these GMs, at least. They're not going to try to let
And
him
it kind
walk.
of the deal kind of benefits the Heat more than it does Dwayne Wade in
Hmm.
the end. I mean, they set themselves up perfectly for free agency next year because
Hmm.
obviously they know themselves as an organization they're not a contender right now. As the team lies, they're not a contender, especially and with Lowell Dank's contract being done after next season, I believe, and Dwayne Wade, that clears up $30 million. And if Dwayne Wade had signed a 3-year deal, that kind of handicaps him when it comes to free agency over the next 2 or 3 seasons.
Precisely. I was about to say that Luol Deng's contract is going to come off the book next year as well. And with Dwayne Wade's contract only being 1 year, that money is going to be freed up too. And next year, they could possibly make a run at Kevin Durant.
No.
Which, yes.
That won't
Look,
happen.
this is
I
my
mean,
stance on
Kevin
Durant.
Durant's probably a long shot
Yeah, look, this
Well,
is
but
I
I
don't.
mean, they could get two top tier free agents.
Durant
I
is
think
saying
I think
Durant is
Durant will
saying
leave OKC.
he's
I
not
think, but
looking. Durant is saying that he's not looking ahead towards free agency right now. He's just focusing on his injury. But anyway, once he gets to that stage, his free agent period, he's going one of two places. He's going to the
Toronto
Wizards, or he's going to the
Raptors.
excuse me, the Thunder.
Times change, my friend. 1 year is a long time.
I
And when
know.
Pat
He could
Riley
Look,
gets
die.
in that
look,
room, when Pat
shut
Riley
up.
gets
No.
in that
Oh,
room
please,
with Kevin
please,
Durant,
please, yeah,
with
please.
his rings
Okay,
on the
I thought you were
table,
going one way, and I was fixing to agree with you, but then you completely veered off into the realm of the realm of obscurity.
why would he?
Let's
Okay,
all be honest with ourselves. Kevin
why?
Durant to the Heat is a long shot,
That's a very long
at
shot.
least. At
Why?
least.
Why in the
Because
world would he want to stay with Russell Westbrook?
Because
Well, apparently
hopefully,
they're best friends, so.
if my Thunder GM has his mind straight, he's either going to A, put Russell at shooting guard, or B, and more preferably,
we're
trade
not.
away Russell for an actual facilitating point guard and a pick.
We've been asking for that for 2 or 3 years now, and they still haven't done it.
Yeah, I know. I know.
So how is that going to change?
Plus, Russell's contract it might be up next season too, or the year after.
I believe it's the
It's
year after. Yeah. So, uh, I'm just saying, Miami, you know, they'll
okay.
have a good
It's not
team
gonna happen.
around him.
The
It's
Hawks
no,
have
They'll
no.
have
just as good of a
the
chance to
team.
get Durant as the Heat do.
Who?
I think he goes to New York, okay, and plays with Melo.
Why
Good.
doesn't he go to Indy? Huh? Why doesn't he go to the Pacers?
That's a
Because
point, Nick. I mean, I hadn't thought of that until now. I mean, it makes zero sense. Why not?
shoot, I mean, if he's gonna go to Indianapolis, he might as well to go to Milwaukee. You know.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? Why not
it
just
ma-
go play overseas? You know, join Pero. Oh, speaking of
Rest in
overseas,
peace.
hey Christopher, did you hear about our free agent Jimmer Fredette possibly going to play in Italy?
Oh, no, I thought you were going to say he came to Atlanta.
No, that'd be amazing, but no. Sadly, I believe he's going to play overseas next year.
Oh man.
Anyway,
I'm going to be very sad. No, you
What
stop.
about
You do
his
not
jersey?
say anyway.
KD to Miami
Yeah,
in
but that's free agency
2K16.
next year. Let's focus on free agency this year and actually get done with the topic we've been trying to discuss for over an hour now.
Like Jimmer.
Dude, it's only been like 30 minutes.
Get my point, though.
Oh, we've got a long time to go. All right, DeAndre
Oh,
Jordan
thank God.
going to the Mavericks,
It's a good fit.
shunning Chris
It's a
Paul.
it's a younger, more defensively minded version of Tyson Chandler in my mind. They're going to be throwing a lot of lobs to him because that's basically his only offense. He has no low post game whatsoever. He's going to be grabbing a ton of rebounds, and he's just going to help out Dallas in general. Like he's just basically a younger Tyson Chandler.
I
Good
But
sign.
agree,
Really
except
good sign.
do you guys think he's worth what 4 years, 80 million?
Absolutely not.
I
after
do
next
not
All
think
right,
year's
so.
listen
look,
to me
some of
here. You
these
can
overpriced contracts, just like sure they may seem that way. May seem a lot now, but next year they're going to be average, not average contracts, but you know what I'm saying. They'll be equivalent to a $10 million deal
It,
this
Okay,
year.
okay, I can
no,
agree with that.
like
Go
these,
ahead.
no.
like these type of contracts are going to become the norm within 3 years, especially
I-
for players like even a lower tier than DeAndre Jordan.
But-
I'm not. I don't agree that he deserves it right now, but I understand it.
But listen to this. Okay. They
Well, then
paid
again, hold on. If
80
we're
million.
gonna prove this point, if we're gonna prove that point, then like the salary cap like rising, then why wouldn't the Heat sign Dwayne Wade for that? Or oh yeah, I
They
guess they
tried.
threw two. Yeah, they threw two options at him. Which one do they prefer? You think the 3 year?
The 1 year.
Well, no,
Definitely
yeah,
the
the
What?
1
1 year.
year, if, since they think they're actually going to
Gives
be
them
able to
more.
play him top
Gives them
grade.
more flexibility next year.
Yeah, but the wait,
And
when
if
is
he
the salary
breaks
cap getting higher?
After next year.
Every year, for over the next 3 years, it keeps rising.
But it gets to 90 million in 2 years, and then like 108 in 3.
Yeah, why
Like the
why
max
not?
contract in 3 years will be 40 million
Oh
a
my!
year.
A year.
And that'll be your LeBrons and yeah.
Yeah.
That's almost um, unthinkable.
That is insane.
But also another signing by the Mavericks, Wesley Matthews, which I actually really
That
love.
was a great sign.
That was,
He's a
The
but we
Mavericks
don't know
are
how
good next year.
much. We don't know
Leave it
how
at that.
much for though yet.
regardless. I mean, if you any day you replace Monta Ellis with Wesley Matthews, that's a good day.
I heard
Sure, Monta may be a good offensive producer, but Wesley may not be as good, but he can still get it done, and he's better defensively than Monta has ever been.
Well, I've heard it's
And Wesley,
over 15 million per year, which
Again, we shouldn't be debating how big these contracts are because they're going to be void come next off season. I'm not saying the contracts will be void, but the argument will be because they will be average contracts. So, any of these outside of Chris Middleton, we should not be making such a big deal of how high priced they are.
eh. Going back to DeAndre Jordan for a second though, I wasn't able to make a point. They paid $80 million for a defensive player who shoots 42% from the free throw line. That's pretty much what it boils down to. Would you rather have LaMarcus Aldridge at 80 million or DeAndre Jordan for 80 million?
Here's the thing: was LaMarcus Aldridge going to the Mavericks at
No,
any point?
but that's not the point. But think you're literally paying
Then
DeAndre
they have
Jordan
no other
the
option.
same as LaMarcus Aldridge.
Again, it may
It's like
seem
saying
overpriced, but it's not going to matter come next season.
still
They're
20
going to
million.
throw as much money as they can at the people they want now, just so next season their contracts won't be taking up as much space as you think they will be.
20 million per year is still going to be a cap hit in 2 to 3 years.
it's going to be a
The
hit.
max is
Still,
the max
but
is
for
30.
for a DeAndre Jordan,
The absolute max when it goes to 90 million is going to be 30 million per year. That's what guys like LeBron, KD are going to be making. So even 20 million is still a lot of money for a guy who is honestly he's replaceable. I mean, you called him a younger Tyson Chandler, pretty much.
yeah,
Yeah.
and Tyson Chandler.
That's his game. He's a younger Tyson Chandler.
But
After
you
the
pay-
Mavericks won the championship, you would have said, like, if Tyson Chandler would have gotten this type of deal, you would have said that's a decent move. You would understand it. And this is even a better Tyson Chandler version, in my mind.
And younger.
But you
By
don't you
6
think
years.
And
Yeah.
you don't think he
more
thrived.
athletic.
You don't think he thrived based off Cliff or Chris Paul.
Well, I think he benefited from it in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
But I'm just
But
saying,
anybody can throw lobs to
the
him.
man averaged what? He
Blake
led
Griffin
the
did.
league in rebounds.
He
with,
did. He
what,
averaged
16.7.
No, it wasn't that
Look,
high. I don't think. I think it was about
Here's the
13.
thing.
If it was
It
about
might have been
13.
14. I think it was 14.
Look, you're saying that he benefited from Chris Paul, but the situation he is in offensively, as in a scheme, the role that Tyson Chandler was playing was essentially the same role that DeAndre was playing in Los Angeles. Sure, Tyson wasn't catching as many lobs as DeAndre was,
Yeah.
but they were in the exact same. That DeAndre's in the exact same scheme he was now, or he was back then. Just now he has Dirk to go alongside him. He has now Wesley Matthews. Who do they have? Chandler Parsons.
Yeah.
And then I think they're eyeing to get a different point guard via sign and trade for somebody, but I can't remember exactly who. Because right now I think they have Jose Calderon starting. Is that right?
No. Calderon's with the Knicks. They
No,
got
they
Yeah.
have
They,
JJ
they have Devin
Barea.
Harris or JJ
I
Barea.
always forget. Like I always think JJ is on the Knicks and
Hmm.
Calderon is on the Mavericks because they were traded for each other.
Yeah,
They also the Mavs have their setup. They got a lot of guys to space the floor. DeAndre Jordan can really get some easy. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he averages 15 points a game next year.
This
Wait,
is a
guys,
good
who's
point.
saying it's going to start for the Mavericks at point?
JJ Barea. At this
Not
point,
Raymond
But they're
Felton?
looking to do a sign and trade type of deal to get somebody else.
Not Raymond Felton? Doesn't he? Is
no,
he still there?
no,
No, he's been gone.
yeah.
Been gone for how
But
long?
I don't think he has been gone. I think he's still there.
I don't see
I think
how
he's still there.
DeAndre Jordan averages 15 points per game without a point guard like Chris Paul in the Clippers offense.
Well,
When he only
I
averaged
mean,
about
they have
10
Blake
in
Griffin
Los
throwing
Angeles.
lobs to him.
Felton is still on the Mavericks.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I thought I was right. I'm usually right.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you are. But
So I want to argue with me.
you're giving a max contract to a guy who's going to average maybe 10 points, get you 13 rebounds.
That sounds like a guy I want to give a pretty good contract to.
A
Again,
max contract?
Hayes, come next year, it won't be a max contract. This is the norm. This will be the normal contract for a guy like him next year. They're playing the long game, which is why I give them a lot of credit because this was a smart move for their part.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna go back on what I said about it being crazy for them to give him this max deal because I guess everybody in free agency this year
All right,
kind of
think about this
just
for a
got
second.
unlucky because the salary cap's gonna go up so much.
Think about this for a second. In 3 years, when that salary cap goes up, you don't think DeAndre Jordan's going to want to restructure?
He'll be back in Clipperland.
You don't think
I mean,
you don't think
I mean,
he's going
I
to want
can
to
guarantee
restructure?
every player wants to restructure.
Exactly.
But
Will they get it? No.
No, exactly. I mean, they're not going to.
Because they're under
Then you're gonna
contract.
then you're going to have an issue because he's going to say to himself,
You're assuming at this point.
you gave me a max contract.
You're just like, oh, I have no judgment of DeAndre's character, but I think he's going to want to restructure 3 years from now.
But
I
if
mean,
you're
in
suggesting
2018.
Can
you're-
DeAndre Jordan really think, hey, I'm worth a max contract?
what you're suggesting,
Can he think?
what you were suggesting, oh my
I love that. I love that celebrity read mean tweets where he's like, DeAndre Jordan doesn't even look like he knows how to read.
What you're
Oh, man,
suggesting,
those
though,
are my
is you're
favorite.
saying that in a few years his contract is going to be lower than the max contract of about $30 million. Right now, you are giving a max contract. You have influenced him into believing
I
that
am?
he is great. Yeah, you are giving him a max contract
Okay,
right now.
think about this. But in 3 years, when the max is $40
I'm
million,
getting a max contract?
It's not going to go up to 40.
What is now considered $10 million? It's
Exactly.
half max.
He's not going. It's not. I don't think it's going up to 40 million. It's 30%.
It is.
It will in
It's-
2017.
it's
2017 is $40 million.
It's 30% of the total
30.
salary cap. So
And
if it goes
do you
up
know
to
how much the
108
salary cap is
No, Darren
imploding?
the thing.
Looking at
Next
30.
year it'll be 30, and then it'll go to 40.
Inflating. That's
I can
what I was
guarantee
looking
you.
I know it's going to 30 when it goes up to 90 million. But when it goes up to 108, then it's like what, 35?
for. We're spending too
Yep,
much
about
time
35.
talking about DeAndre Jordan.
That's because it's an interesting
Jordan's going to get
debate.
another max contract.
And I understand what you're saying. I know a lot of these contracts are not going to look as bad in a few years. But I still think that's a lot of money for DeAndre Jordan. But that's just me. Hey, whatever. He's a he is what he is. He's a defensive
That is
player.
a true statement. He is who he is.
Yeah.
Thank
but
That is very true.
I think
I can
paying
agree.
him. You're paying him like a guy who's expected to score 20 points a game.
He has before. I'm just saying in the playoffs
Well, no.
he had a 27 and 23.
You're paying him like somebody that'll get 13 rebounds a game. That's something you need.
You can go pay a guy a lot
Amir
less to get like 10 rebounds a game.
You're
Who, though?
you're probably getting one of the top two defensive. I mean, he's going to be on the all defensive team every year. He's going to lead the league in rebounds, and I mean, he's going to average
Seriously,
at least
tell
14,
tell
15
me
points a
someone that
game.
you can tell me someone you can really underpay that'll get you 10, 11, 12 rebounds a game. Like, give me an example.
Oh man, I would have to really think about that for a second.
I mean,
But
Omer
Exactly.
Sheik.
no, I
He
mean,
gets.
off
I
the
mean,
top
no,
of my
even he
head,
gets good money.
well, Omer Sheik gets like 10 million, and he's overpaid.
Yeah, no,
He
I
got
agree,
I
but
think
That's
he
because
got 8
Omar
million
Sheik is just
last year.
bad. He's not even a great defender.
Yeah.
no.
But
But
guys who get 10 to 11 rebounds per game, I'd have to think about that. I'd have to
exactly.
look
Yeah, I mean,
into it.
you
But
really have to put effort into
shoot,
that
look at
because
Robin Lopez.
how
He's
much did
worth it.
the
He
Knicks
got
sign him for
50. He got 54 million.
in 4 years?
Yeah, I'd take Robin Lopez for that over DeAndre Jordan.
Even still, like that's
And Robin Lopez isn't one of the greater defensive centers in the league.
and he didn't did he average double digit rebounds? I don't think he did he?
I
I
believe
don't
he
think
did.
so. To be honest
I
with
think
you,
he
Not,
averaged like
pretty
8.
close. I'd have to look into that, but I'm pretty sure he was pretty close.
I'll look into it.
I'm
But-
thinking it was like 8. And it was like 11 points, 8 rebounds, something like that.
Well, but speaking of Lopez, so he signed with the Knicks for that contract, 4 years, 54 million.
Changing the subject. I see you.
Which, no, I'm trying to
Gotcha.
move on from that
Yes,
because
please.
we've spent too much time on it. But Robin Lopez for that
I'm
contract
wrong. Let's talk about something
is
else.
decent. Oh my gosh,
And Ross is right again.
he
Surprise.
is.
Hayes,
You're not.
I've learned enough from this. Ross is always right. Don't argue with him.
Okay, we'll go with that because I'm done with that for right now. The Knicks, Robin Lopez, 4 years, 54 million, is
That's a great signing.
a lot better than DeAndre Jordan for 80 million.
He averaged
Okay.
6.7
Move
rebounds
on.
last year.
Yes,
Move
exactly. 6.7
He's not a
rebounds.
rebounding center.
I'm just saying I'd take him over DeAndre Jordan at 80 million.
6.7 rebounds
At 80
versus like
million.
what, 14 rebounds?
At 80 million.
Yeah,
A game?
And how many points?
And he came
How many-
in.
I gotta
He came in
check.
second for for defensive player of the year.
I need to see him do it out of LA.
Ugh.
Okay.
I'm just. He's not.
What, rebound and block shots?
Yeah.
He averaged
And
9.6
actually beat-
points.
actually beat-
Robin
Yeah,
Lopez did.
Okay, thank
Actually
you.
beat
That's
an
even better
offensive
for my
threat.
point.
And actually beat an offensive threat out of Los Angeles.
He doesn't have to be an offensive threat.
He wasn't an offensive threat in LA.
So then
either.
you're essentially paying $80 million for defense.
And
Yeah.
rebounding.
There are so many guys in the
for
league
one
that
of
can
the
play
best
defense.
defenders. You're not saying just for good defense. One of the best defense.
Yes, and the best rebounder.
He looked good in LA because no one else could play defense on that team.
Okay, hey, rebounding, Hayes, rebounding.
That's such a finicky stat, though. I mean, look
Look
at
doesn't
Reggie
matter.
Yeah,
Evans.
you say
Dude,
that
Reggie
rebounding
Evans.
is such a fakey stat,
No,
and it became a huge factor. One of the
it's a-
biggest factors in
It's
the
a
finals.
finicky stat.
Charles
for
Barkley
It
individuals.
won.
Greatest
Golden State won
It's a
the
There's only
finals based on
two-
rebounding.
It's a finicky
basketball
stat
is
for
rebounding
individuals.
and turnovers. Whoever has the most rebounds and
Typically wins the game.
wins the game.
I'm not talking about team rebounding. I'm talking about individual rebounding.
Okay, well,
Yeah, and
okay,
he's
fine.
the best rebounder in the
No.
league.
How can you
Gets the
get
most
no
rebounds,
individual
that's the thing.
rebounds? Okay, you're crazy.
I'm just saying there are other guys out there that can help
yourself
you
into a
from a
corner and you're not
rebounding
getting
and
out.
defensive perspective.
Hayes, how do you get team rebounds?
That's like
by
saying
getting individual
it's like
rebounds.
saying you're gonna pay $80 million.
Everybody at
That's
the
like
same
saying,
time. That's how you get team rebounds.
No, okay. I'm gonna turn this into. Think about this from an NFL perspective. That's like paying a
You
slot
can't rebound
guy.
there.
That's like paying a slot guy like Des Bryant money.
Not at all.
It
No,
is
not
essentially
whatsoever.
the same idea.
Not whatsoever.
It
Is
is.
that slot guy also playing cornerback?
No, what does that have to do with anything?
I have no idea, but it made sense in my mind.
No, it doesn't. There are so
Hey,
many
hey,
slot guys
hey,
in the
it-
league
hey, it depends,
that it's
Hayes.
replaceable.
Hayes, it depends.
From a
How many
cap-
rebounds is this slot guy getting?
There's a cap perspective here. That's why it's a salary cap.
It doesn't. It's not gonna attribute to the team rebound
You
loss.
have to put your money in different aspects where you can get the most. It's all about your value. You can get better value
It's
out
not
of getting.
just salary. It's all about reality.
Okay,
That's
well
why
they,
it's a
they got their
salary
they
cap
got their
league.
big man scoring in Dirk.
Yeah, so they're not going to ask him to score.
Okay.
So you're going to pay 80 million guys to a guy who's going to score 10 points per game?
80 million guys, that's a lot of guys for the team.
I will guarantee you, he averages more than 13 points a game next year.
All right.
I will guarantee you.
Okay.
No, I think he gets around 13, 14 and gets around 13, 14 rebounds. That is a guy I want to pay any amount of money, especially when this salary cap is going up in within the next 3 years.
Give me Blake Griffin over him.
Well,
No.
okay.
Blake Griffin wasn't on the market.
I'm just saying. If we're talking about
Give me LeBron James.
If we're talking about what was DeAndre Jordan the third best player on his team? Probably.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's not the number one guy in Dallas. He's not going to be.
Yes, exactly. And
He's going to be.
You're
He's
essentially
probably going to be the number 3 guy behind Dirk and Parsons.
So you're gonna pay him $80 million to be
situation.
behind Chandler Parsons?
Hey,
Say that
let's
again?
not get away from the fact the salary cap's going up. Remember that?
I know, but you're still giving him max money right now.
Yes.
For one, this is
For
max
2
money for
years.
1 year.
Max
for
money
2
for
years.
1 year.
Just signed
2
mid-season.
It doesn't go up to 90 million for 2 more years. It'll go up a little bit next year, but not exponentially more.
The max next year will be 30.
No, that's 2017.
Because this
Weren't
year
we
it's
past
23.
DeAndre?
It's 23.1 this year.
Yeah, but Hayes had to bring it back to how wrong he is. And also, stat update,
We'll agree to
DeAndre
dis-
averaged 15 rebounds, 2.2 blocks, and 11.5 points last year.
Yeah, I know. I'm very aware of that stat. You act like I
Anybody
don't.
who averages a double-double in a full season deserves a lot of money.
2 blocks,
He deserves $80 million.
2 blocks a game.
And that's 11 points, and he was even told by Doc Rivers that he was not. They didn't even look at him as an offense, like as an option for offense.
And
he made like a third of his
He
free
was
throws.
told that he was not going to be given the ball at all.
He had the best point guard in the league passing him the ball.
No. Didn't really pass him
In
the ball that
Lob
much.
City. In Lob City, he made his money off of alley-oops from Chris Paul.
A lot of people can throw alley-oops, and Chris Paul rarely passed him the ball. Let's be honest.
Because he threw it to Blake.
He got those points off of rebounds, and when people actually pass him the ball, he will probably score more.
But
DeAndre almost averaged 5 offensive rebounds a game.
I'm very aware of his offensive
you're wrong.
ability.
You're wrong.
I'm very aware of his ability.
So Monta Ellis decided to sign with the Indiana Pacers. What's your qualms with that, Nick? Anything wrong with that?
I mean, I never really liked Monta Ellis as a player, but we were one of the worst teams. I mean, the Pacers were one of the worst teams in the league in offensive pace. I mean, he runs and he scores. That's about his thing. He doesn't play much defense, which the Pacers were and have always been, especially for the past few years, one of the top teams defensively. I mean, I like the signing. I mean, they had to get another guard because Rodney Stuckey probably wasn't the best option at the shooting guard position, but it'll help them out, especially their backcourt, which has been good for a little while.
And that contract, 4 years, $44 million. I think that's a good deal for Monta, especially with the implosion of the salary cap coming up. But any other thoughts on Monta?
Giving DeAndre Jordan $80 million is like giving DeMarco Murray the largest contract for a running back.
Hey, Hayes,
value is
the Miami
not there.
Heat. The Miami Heat. Goran Dragic decided to stay with the Miami Heat for 5 years, $90 million. Thoughts?
The value is not there for DeAndre Jordan. It's like giving a running back $60 million. There's so many more out there.
Hayes is out.
It's a salary cap league. You value.
Paul Millsap decided to re-sign with the Hawks for 3 years, $58 million. I liked. I mean, yeah, it's a little pricey, but then again, the salary cap is going to go up, so I'm fine with the amount of money. I'm fine that we got him back, and I mean, sure, we lost Damari Carroll to the Raptors, but now that we have Millsap back, what do you think our starting lineup is going to be, Ross?
It'll be. Ooh, who's gonna fill that small forward spot?
This is what I'm thinking. You remember sometimes during the regular season, more so towards the end, and then during the
Don't.
playoffs, the Hawks would go to a 2-point guard
Okay,
line.
no. I actually I know what it'll be. I think it'll be Teague, and no, you can't say Schroeder will start and then put Teague at the 2 or both of them switch out. That's not what it's gonna be like in the
They're
NBA.
both
It's
ones.
gonna it's gonna be
They're going to be. It's going to go 1-1-2-4-5. Technically,
no
one
no no
4
no.
because
It's
power
okay.
forward.
Look, it's gonna be Teague, or Teague, Bazemore, Corver, um, Millsap, and Horford, and then Tiago come off the bench, and then Schroeder come off the bench. I just think Bazemore's such a good defender and so good athletically. He
That is,
needs to start. He's like an Amon Shumpert.
Corver will get torched by the small forwards in this
that's
league
what I'm
on
Yeah,
thinking.
defense.
yeah. Okay, switch
Which is
those
why I
two.
think
Well, I mean,
Bazemore.
he's gonna get torched by all the shooting guards in the league too. I mean, he really can't defend.
Well, small
He is good.
forwards
No,
is
he's
even
good
worse.
defensively. He is good defensively.
He makes up for it on offense. I mean, you get him with the slightest bit of space, he's not. He's going to knock down that three.
No, but he's so good, like technically on defense. Like
Yeah.
somebody will go up with a shot and he'll
I-
swipe it away as they're going up. Like if they take the ball down. I'm telling you, he's not a terrible defender.
I just
Especially when you have a
can't.
team. When you
I just
hold on,
can't
when you
see
have
the
team
Hawks.
defense like the Hawks do, not in the playoffs, but throughout the regular season, like in the months of January, February. If you have team defense like that, then he is fine. He fits that system defensively too.
I just can't see the Hawks going through the rest of free agency without picking up any type of small forward right now. I just
I
can't
would
see them going into next year with the roster they have right now.
no. I think they should sign somebody. I think it'd be great because I mean I don't want Kent Bazemore necessarily in the starting lineup, but if it all comes down to it, he will be okay.
But who's there left to sign?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know any small forward. Off the top of my head, I can't think of any right now.
Well, considering Kyle Singler got 25 million, you're probably going to be in some trouble.
But hey, Christopher, who would you prefer having on the team? Would you prefer Damari Carroll or Paul Millsap? Not that it really matters anymore because they're both signed by teams, but
Um, honestly,
I think
thinking
Damari.
about it, I'd rather have the lineup that I'm about to say than the one we don't really have a lineup at this point. But I'd rather have it be Teague, Corver, Damari, Horford splitter.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Like I would been more okay with Millsap leaving than Damari
Mhm.
because I mean Damari is so good defensively and Tiago we know can play the center obviously and Horford is a true power forward. I mean not to say Millsap isn't because obviously he is, but I mean if you have two power forwards on a team, might as well keep a small forward and get rid of one of the power forwards.
hmm
Well,
Other power forwards in the news: Greg Monroe, 3 years, 50 million with the Bucks. I mean, Atlanta was kind of hoping out for him, but eventually he just decided, you know what, I want to go play in another smaller market than Detroit somehow. But I liked that signing. I mean, he's still young. He's what, 25?
I think he's a little bit older. I think
Is
he's
he?
I think he's like
he's
26,
25.
27.
He's 25.
Okay, somewhere
wow,
around
Is he
that age.
really?
He's 25.
wow.
Okay, see, I was right. Um, and that just makes the Bucks the giantest, the tallest team. It makes them a big team with Carter Williams at
But
point.
he's only 6'11", isn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah, but
but
listen to
We're
the
talking
rest of
about
the lineup.
average height.
Yeah, no.
Listen to
It's
the
like
rest of the lineup.
Kentucky.
Carter Williams at 6'6" at the point. Middleton 6'7" at the guard shooting.
Jabari.
Jabari
6'9".
at small forward 6'9". Giannis at power forward, playing more of a stretch small forward type of deal at 6'11".
6'11", right? Yeah.
And Greg
And
Monroe 6'11"
at
at the
6'11".
position. That's a big team.
That's gonna look like Kentucky, seriously.
I
Yeah.
mean,
They still don't have much of a never mind. I was gonna say they don't really have much of a true center, but no one really has a true center anymore.
Yeah, I mean that's not going to be a big deal. I mean they don't really have a star, a guy that they can rely on. But this team, I mean, I like what they're doing. I really do.
I like how they're keeping the core together.
Well, and this was my favorite signing to date so far. I think he's gonna thrive in Milwaukee. I'm just more surprised they actually got him. I mean, can you believe
Yeah.
Milwaukee actually got a free agent? Like, when was the last time that happened?
The other year, and well, look what
Michael
happened.
Carter Williams.
That was a
Right.
trade.
Was it a trade?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Man, what happened to OJ Mayo?
he
Seriously.
got too eggy.
No, I'll tell you what happened. He played in Milwaukee. That's what happened.
Sure.
But anyway.
When they were bad, yeah.
Mhm.
But 3 years,
Uh,
$50 million for him is good. He's still young.
Oh yeah.
He averaged 16 and 10 last year, trying to deal with Josh Smith and Andre Drummond. So, yeah, I mean, we all know Josh Smith quite
Yeah.
well.
Had enough of him in Atlanta.
And I mean, he shot like 50% from the field. Yeah,
If-
I really like.
Josh Smith?
No. Greg Monroe. Sorry, Greg Monroe shot 50% from the field. I really like
Josh
Monroe.
Smith shot like 10%.
It was like 20. To be fair, it was like 27.
28%. It was like 28% from the 3-point line, or 23 from 3-point line, 27 from field goal. Right?
Man, what a producer!
No, I honestly I think that was just before the Pistons released him though.
And you know, some teams are still somehow interested in him.
Yeah, the King.
Yeah, the Kings won him.
That sounds like
How
King.
backwards of a lineup would that be? You've got Rondo at point,
Wait, hold on.
Macklemore at shooting guard. Their small forward would
It's
be
Rudy Gay.
Josh
Rudy
Smith.
Gay.
Rudy
Rudy
Gay.
Oh, Rudy Gay, yeah, and Josh
Josh
Smith
Smith
at
at
power
power forward into Marcus Cousins
Hold
at center.
on.
I'd feel bad for Carl.
Time out. Please let that happen. Can you imagine George Karl on the sideline with that team? They literally would probably get into a fight trying to get the ball from the
George Karl would commit suicide before halftime.
Hang him.
of the first game. Can you believe? Oh my gosh! Please let that happen, Josh Smith.
Oh my!
I'm begging
Josh Smith to the Kings.
I will pay you to go to the Kings. We need to make a GoFundMe account for
I
Josh Smith
think
to go to the Kings.
Josh
I
Smith has to
think
pay to be on a team.
Like, oh my gosh!
So
dude.
stubborn. I think Rodno would get so stubborn that he would seriously get the ball. I mean, not that he already doesn't. He would seriously run like around half court and just wait till there's a last second shot and just take it. Like honestly, I think he would wait the entire shot clock. Not like he already does, but still.
He pretty much does
No.
that already, but DeMarcus
Yeah, I know.
Cousins
What I'm
would
saying is he would take the last easily.
DeMarcus Cousins would probably just get ejected of the game to make himself
I think
feel
with his
better.
own teammates.
Just to
And
make
then just
himself feel better.
He
Just go
punches
home.
out and gets suspended 6 games.
Yeah.
Just
pretty
just
much.
on tip the ball and just like get it and throw it at a ref and then walk off the court.
And
He doesn't even tip it. He just grabs it and just throws it.
people
Punts it in the
underrate
stands.
Rudy Gay, how much of a cancer he is as a player. Like, he is everywhere he goes, they literally are terrible. Like, they become
Memphis?
a terrible team.
Memphis?
No, after he I mean, he wasn't even there that long though.
This is a part of everywhere now.
Yeah. Everywhere he goes, they are terrible.
Interesting.
It's true.
Well,
Do you want me to look at the team? I mean, think
okay,
about the
but
teams he's been at.
did you expect the Kings to be good? Did you expect the Kings to be good, really?
They've become worse than they already are.
No, they didn't.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, they have not been good in a while.
Not since Vlade was there.
No,
Yeah.
it's one of those instances where you think they're going to be good because they got Rudy Gay, and then all of a sudden
Okay,
they're
okay,
still
I can
terrible.
agree with that. But no,
That is true.
yeah, it's kind of. I don't think he's a cancer to a team. I just think he's a non-factor. Like he'll hit his stats, but the record won't improve.
For a while at least, he was held in the status of like a star, an all-star type of player when he's not. He's not.
Well, that's what I mean.
He has a bigger name to him than he's actually worth.
Yeah, I mean, remember he went to Toronto for a
Rondo.
few years. and they became pretty bad, even worse than I guess they already were. It's just one of those things where
But we're
really
discussing
hope
something other than what we should be discussing. Again,
we're talking about free agency and the NBA.
Rondo. Last time I checked is under con. I mean, not Rondo. Rudy Gay. Last time I checked is under contract.
Yeah,
Okay.
but we're
Is
talking about
anybody
the
else breaking
Kings.
up?
We're talking about the effect of the Kings here. You know, with Rajon Rondo signing a 1-year deal at $10 million.
Marco Bellinelli.
Marco, yeah, oh yeah. See, I think Marco is going to be the guy that holds the glue together.
I thought you were
He's
going
going
to
to
say
be
he's going to
he's
be
going
the
to be
guy in Sacramento.
no, he's going to be the
Marco's going to
glue.
be averaging 30 a game.
He's going to be the glue that holds that team together.
He's the star.
It's just his flair, his 3-point flair.
Marco Bellinelli.
He's
Airballing
gonna
three.
He's a real flashy
and
player.
still-
he's gonna
Airballing
take
three
he's gonna
three-point shots.
take
Still winning the contest.
he's gonna take everything he learned from San Antonio and just you know
So
teach,
shoot.
teach
That
him.
no, that no,
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 no, no,
that is
that
okay.
team
If you're
basketball.
talking about mold like team wise, no, that'll never happen. You see that roster. Do you see that?
Marcus
That
Cousins
is not
is
going to happen, Hayes.
sir.
I,
He's still DeMarcus Cousins.
that was a complete joke.
Okay.
You can't just phrase. I just assume your whole spiel about DeAndre was a joke too.
No, sir.
Dude,
Anyway,
paying DeAndre Jordan $80
um,
million is
anyway,
like paying a running back
see what else happened.
$60
Danny
million.
Green re-signed with the Spurs for 4 years, $45 million. Uh, any thoughts on that? I mean, I just think it's a good deal all around. Anything else?
For them, that's good.
Great.
That's good for them.
For him, that's good.
Yeah,
Rest in peace, Nick.
yeah, yeah. He's I think he died a little
Died.
bit. um, but Danny Green is. They kind of need him, I guess. I don't know. He's he's good for what they need him to do. He wouldn't have been as good anywhere else. That's for sure.
That is. I mean, we saw what happened with Gary Neal.
Yeah, good old Gary Neal. I know you wanted him in Atlanta, though.
I never said that.
I think you did.
No.
I know
At-
Isaac said it.
At Danny Green, yes, but I think not Gary Neal.
Danny Green would have been great in Atlanta.
That would have been.
Oh man, he'd be that
Uh,
small forward.
Yeah, we touched on Damari Carroll a second ago. He decided to head north, sign a 4-year deal worth $60 million with the Toronto Raptors. I'm gonna miss him surely as a Hawks fan.
He is the North. He's no longer true to
But-
Atlanta.
He's not
Yeah, I
going
hated
to do
that.
anything special, at least in Toronto.
Nah, he'll be average.
Toronto's not as
And-
good as people think they are, and that was recently brought up to me.
He
Toronto,
would be a good defender.
yeah, and that's about it.
Yeah.
Oh, so like DeAndre Jordan.
Talking two
Okay.
different positions.
Somebody
two different
somebody has
point.
to agree with me here. I am not crazy. Salary
Well,
cap
you-
driven leagues are all about value at positions.
Everybody agrees with you. You read your NFL power rankings. Eagles are
Okay, I knew that was going to get some flack because literally no one's
Nobody's
going to be
point.
happy about power rankings because they just want to see their team at the top.
Are you really making us talk about 50 free agents? Wow.
No, we're
I
not going to
just-
talk about 50 free agents.
We're talking about all of them.
Uh,
Costa Kufos, he's a highlight. He went to the Kings. Moving on.
He got
Why?
He got $33 million.
Why?
That's almost as bad as Middleton's.
Let's see who else here. Paul
What is
Pierce. I
Doc?
actually like this signing. Reunites with Doc in LA. Not
And for low, what did he get? Like
Only
10.5
$10.5
million for
million.
3 years?
million.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go out on a limb here. He's not gonna play all 3 of those years.
Yeah, I'm not really sure
Other-
why they did that. Maybe just to stretch out the
How old is
cap
he now?
year.
He was considering retirement once he was eliminated by the Hawks.
I knew that, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean,
he's up there. Trust me, he's up there.
He's not. I don't think he's as old as like
Garnett,
yeah. I
he's
think
not that old.
he's younger.
Oh yeah. Speaking of Omer Ashik, he got 5 years, $60 million with the Pelicans.
To continue to be overpaid. Isn't he 33?
He is
Yeah.
about 33. Yeah.
For 5 years?
Yeah. New
Omer
Orleans. New
Sheik.
Orleans isn't very
Pelicans are
smart.
going
Like
to put
why?
up for Omer Sheik till he's 38 years old,
Yeah. Pretty much.
paying him over 10 mil. Well, by then 10 million will be about good for his skill level, but still,
I don't know what they see in Omer Ashik.
I don't see what anybody sees in Omer Ashik.
I
Uh,
like him. I like the fact that he felt insulted when they brought Dwight Howard in to Houston. He was like, "Well, I better start at center." I mean, I don't know what you expect to do. This guy come off the bench.
I better be
well,
I
starting
don't know.
with Dwight Howard.
Yeah,
If not, I want out.
he's probably never watched a game. It's like, who's Dwight Howard?
he,
Dwight.
he really made the
Bleep bleep.
decision. He really made the decision difficult for the Rockets at that point. Let's see, who do we take? Dwight Howard, or do we trade away Omer Ashik?
Hmm.
Hmm.
I think we're gonna take Dwight.
And it took them quite a while
That
too.
was a shocker.
I think they really, really thought about that decision.
It took just day and night. They stayed up. They're like, "Oh, what are we gonna do? You can't keep both." I
Guys, I
mean,
think we gotta.
stars butt
Somebody
heads.
in that room's like, we gotta keep Ashik. We gotta
Yeah,
keep
I mean,
Ashik.
stars tend to butt heads, though.
Exactly. I mean, come on. What did you expect?
This is
Look,
stupid.
speaking of stars, Al Farouk Aminu, 4 years, 30 million dollars from the
Okay, let's actually
Trailblazers.
talk about something that's relevant. We've been touching on Tyson Chandler here and there. Oh, you know what I meant. Nothing dirty. But anyway, he got 4 years, 52 million with the Suns. Again, that means he's under contract till he's 37 or 38. So I'm not too keen on the length of the contract, but again, the monetary the money is fine.
Struggling there.
Like
Struggling.
Stephen A. Smith, I'm trying to use big words, but I don't know how to use them.
Dude, no, he uses them actually quite well. He has an exquisite vocabulary. Iman Shumpert, though? Did you see his hair?
Hello?
What happened to his hair?
Who?
Iman Shumpert.
I hadn't seen, and is that
Wait,
really
did
a
he cut
point
it?
of?
Yeah,
Yes, that. Did he cut it?
uh, yeah, kind of. He like turned it into
Twisties?
yeah, like on the top of his head
Like
though.
Jimmy Butler?
Hold on.
Like Jimmy
I'm gonna
Butler
go look
and
at it. Hold on.
Derrick Rose, that type of haircut?
No, 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 no.
Hold
He
on.
turned them into
Is it like
they're like
is it like Nick Young's old hair?
no, 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 no. They're like it's like kind of like dreads, but on the top of his head.
Cornrows?
Not cornrows though.
They're
They're not
twisties, man.
actually on his head.
Please tell me it's dreads but sticking straight up.
It basically is, yes.
Really?
Yes. They're
I gotta
dreads.
look this up.
It's like there's a patch on the top of his head, and then there's dreads just sticking up. But he got 4 years, 40 million, so I guess he can have whatever hair he wants.
True.
So that's that's pretty fair for him, I guess. He's another defensive specialist, but I'm okay with paying a defensive specialist 10 million per year right now, not 20 million.
Anyway,
But so
uh,
the total amount so far for agreed upon contracts is roughly $2.5 billion from the NBA.
it's a lot
That
of
is
money.
awful.
What?
Okay, I was just spending my time
What?
finding Shumpert's and that.
Oh yeah, the hair is awful. Yeah, but I like how you just totally didn't even think about the stat I just threw out there. Nothing. Not.
I just looked at his. Oh my goodness, that's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll put up a picture of that for you right now. Yeah, that's what it looks like. It's just take it in like a fresh of breath air. I guess
He's trying to be a palm tree.
pretty much. See, maybe he's trying to get his Miami on.
He's not going to Miami. He's already signed.
I know. I'm just saying he's trying to get his
Shut up.
Miami on. He's trying to be like LeBron was telling him how great Miami was, and he wanted a little taste of it.
Other highlights from free agency so far: Tobias Harris
Can
staying
this
with
be
the
like the
Magic,
podcast?
4 years,
Just
64
have that
million.
feature on our entire podcast.
um, Reggie Jackson staying with the Pistons, 5 years, 80 million.
That was a lot
Lou
of money
Williams
for
going
him.
to the Lakers, 3 years, 21 million. And then the biggest highlight that I can see would definitely have to be Ed Davis to the Blazers for 3 years, 20 million. I mean, it's a that was a no. I'm not even going to continue that.
No, don't even
Um,
try. Don't
yeah,
even try. Just don't even try. Ed Davis
but
is
moving on, outside of NBA
2.5.
free agency, uh, some news came up today that pertains to one of your favorite teams, Hayes, regarding one of their top up and coming guys that they had, and I'll let you get into that.
Yeah, this is a really unfortunate situation. DeAndre Johnson, he was the third string quarterback at Florida State, and he had a bright future. There's no doubt about that. He had a really good game at the spring game this year. He threw 8 for 11 for 155 yards and 2 touchdowns. I'd heard a lot of noise that he was very similar to a Justin Thomas kind of player.
You would have been lucky.
I wouldn't have minded that, for sure. I wouldn't have minded that. I mean, some of his high school stats, I know, granted, they're high school stats, but he threw for 47 touchdowns and 9 interceptions, over 3,700 yards, and ran for almost 400 yards. So he's a dual threat quarterback. But pretty much all of that's out of the window now, as he was dismissed from the team after a video came out today. Now, he had already known this had happened, but the video finally came out today of him punching a woman in a bar. So we'll go ahead and look at that right there. I mean, he you got to give the woman some credit here. She took it like a trooper. She was not very phased by that punch, although it was a good one. But the whole thing is, it's just unfortunate.
Yeah.
It's something you really just don't want to see.
Stupidity.
All jokes aside, I mean, I'm glad that DeAndre Johnson is now not a part of Florida State. I would have been glad if this news had came out if he was on any other team, like regardless of the whole Florida State thing. Sure, I may not like them, but still, anybody who does this type of situation does not deserve to be on any sort of professional, college level, high school sports team. Uh, I feel sorry for that woman's family, and I feel sorry for the people who this is affected. And this is just a sad situation that this happened. This is just deplorable.
It's unacceptable,
Stupidity.
really.
I mean, you'd think he thought he was a lot better. I mean, I'm sure he was good, but thought he was a lot better than he was. Thinks he can get away with things, and this tends to happen quite often. This kind of thing,
Yeah, and
really inexcusable.
And
it's
anybody who says that, oh, that woman swung first, come on, look at the video. I mean, there's no justification to this action.
no, there's certainly no justification, but I think it was a matter of first let's look at this. He's not even legal to drink, so he was in a bar illegally in the first place. Which, I mean, people may say, "Ah,
Well,
it's not a big deal,"
it
whatever.
wasn't
But
necessarily illegally. That wasn't necessarily illegally being in the bar. I mean,
well, he was obviously drinking. Come on.
is it obvious? Is there
You
proof?
can,
Yeah.
you can't tell from the video, but
The
I'm just
story
saying
is that he was getting a
that part's
drink and the
irrelevant.
woman had cut in front of him, so on and so forth. We go from there. Now, in the right state of mind, this guy probably doesn't do this. But I mean, let's be real. He was probably under the influence. Is it safe to probably assume that? I mean, is a guy really going to punch a woman when he's not drunk?
Oh, yes.
sadly, there are
Uh,
cases where that happens. But
But
I
in
mean,
this
you
case, I mean,
you can't tell. I mean, I have not heard anything
Was Ray
saying that
Rice
he
drunk?
was drunk. You can't tell for sure he was drunk. He might have been. He might not have been. You just can't tell. And I mean, that's that you really can't factor that into the situation. I mean, you can if he was drunk. That's illegal. Obviously, it's intoxication.
of a
I don't know
minor.
the exact rule. I mean, the exact terminology for it, but it's just
It's a minor under the influence.
regardless of if he was drunk or not. This was dumb, stupid, should never have happened, and well, it just
And
did.
I think it's tough for me. This whole thing. The same thing with the Ray Rice ordeal. I can't I can't excuse it by any means. I can't condone it in any way. But I hate to judge a guy based off one single action when he was probably drunk. Let's be real. I know Ray Rice was under the influence for sure. He was, and people do a lot of really stupid things, and that was their mistake in the first place for getting drunk. And but you know what I mean? Like I
He's
can't
Here's the
base his
thing.
whole character off of this one
Here's the thing
incident.
with Ray Rice, though.
Hey
He
Nick,
and his wife came together and basically said, "Hey, let's get through this. This was a mistake. This should have never happened." I'm not seeing that with this DeAndre Johnson case. Um, I don't know his character at all, but the only thing I have to base his character on is this video. And honestly, I mean, I don't know the guy. He could be the nicest guy in the world, but I mean, anybody who does this isn't is like I don't know how to express what I'm trying to say, but you understand.
No, I understand. I understand. It's fair to say, um, but it's just it irks me a little bit when people really get on to guys like Ray Rice. Like, come on, you've never done anything wrong ever in your life.
not that wrong.
Um, I know, not that wrong, but it was his mistake in the first place to be under the influence. That was your first mistake. But once you get to once you get to that mindset, that atmosphere, you can't really control what you do a lot of the time. So,
Can I ask a question? This is not to get anybody all fired up on the subject, but does domestic violence go both ways?
yeah,
Well, it can. I
Technically,
mean,
yes,
yes,
but it
and
never ends.
that
That
happened with
that
Hope Solo, didn't
that
it?
goes, yeah. And I was about to say Hope
okay,
Solo, but
that's true.
that's a whole nother story that I might
I
That
not
just
want to. I might not want to get
that's an
into.
OT type of deal right
I
there.
might not want to
I
get
know
into
it.
that.
I'm gonna say something. It kind of irks me that if a guy, I'm not saying by any means is either way acceptable, but if a guy, I guess punches a girl, it's, I mean, it's a felon, or I guess, you can get in true trouble, which it is. Like, I mean, that's a bad situation, but if a girl hits a guy, good for her. Uh,
That's not always the case, and there's
Not
not many
always, but
cases of it to begin with. So, I
Well,
mean,
that's like the
not
whole
not many
thing.
cases that you
Like,
know of because they don't make it a big deal. But
well, that's this
I
whole
mean,
thing with you can't hit a girl, but if a girl beats up a guy, it's like, whoa, whoa,
you got beat up by a girl.
yeah,
Like, what do
it's
you,
that kind of thing.
what do you do there? Nobody, like, the girl always wins.
Well, what if the girl is bigger and stronger than the guy
That's what I'm
too?
saying.
that
Um,
if ifs and
because
buts. I mean, you know
from
the rest of that
because
phrase.
for the most part, I would say the guy should be able to control himself and handle the situation without having to go that far. But I mean, I guess there are certain instances where the woman is bigger than the man.
It's self-defense. I mean,
But anyway, that's not the point of this topic. How do you guys feel this affects FSU's already somewhat tarnished image?
It just makes them look even worse. I
yes.
mean, if anything, you shouldn't judge an entire franchise based off one player's actions, but there've been a sample. There've been a litany of cases regarding Florida State athletes to involving different crimes and
Mainly
just
football. Mainly
yeah, just stuff that should not have happened. I mean, preventable stuff. I mean, I'm not saying everybody on Florida State is a criminal. That that's just idiotic to even assume. But it just shows what kind of people. I'm not entirely sure what I'm trying to close this with here. But
Well,
don't judge the many by the few. I'm putting it that way.
I
and
agree with that
it's
100%.
Florida State has dealt with some issues, no doubt. Jameis Winston being the most obvious and the largest, with his I don't even know how many issues you want to say are really a
Cravings for
big
crab
deal.
legs.
I mean, I don't even know how many you want to say are actually a big deal. I mean, I know he got in trouble for trying to play paintball on campus. He obviously the whole, the rape accusation, the stealing the crab legs, blah de blah de blah,
Well, all of those come.
You
and
All
then
of
put you
those
put
minus
those
the
two
rape
together.
comes
and
down
I,
to.
I love how you say blah 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 right after the rape.
Rape and crab legs are about on equal ground with you, aren't they?
no, of course not. But anyway, I mean, there
Oh,
even
he's gonna get away from this
Even
point too.
Carlos Williams had the whole domestic abuse thing as well with his wife, or soon to be wife. Then there was PJ Williams, who had the DUI hit and charge that was pretty much just thrown away. There have been a multitude of issues for some Florida State athletes in recent times, but I don't.
How to make you
And
feel?
this is me.
I think
This
it's
is me
just
speaking.
unfortunate. I think it's just unfortunate on FSU's FSU's level. I mean, it's it just so happened that these guys happened to all go to Florida State. I mean, if they were, if,
Well,
And I'm
you
very
can't
actually I'm very
necessarily say
happy that
that
you're
because
I'm happy that you're actually understanding of this, Christopher, because you usually rag on my favorite teams. But I pretty much agree with what you just said there. With Jimbo Fisher taking over Florida State in the past few years, they've really transformed into one of the best teams in the country, one of the best programs in the country. And
they're terrible.
what comes with that, it comes with responsibility. You end up getting some of the best athletes, some of the best players in the country. And sometimes you take risks. Maybe they aren't the most, holistic people. Maybe they're not the best people, morally, great people. But sometimes you have to take that risk because of how good they are as a football player. And I feel like Jimbo Fisher's kind of been caught with his pants down in a couple of situations here, and I don't think it represents the university as a whole.
Which it should not.
And it shouldn't, but a lot of people view it as that, unfortunately. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say about the situation. I think it's just a couple of bad apples, which comes with trying to recruit the best players in the country, and that's just kind of a side effect of it. I don't think it's a culture, is what I'm trying to say. I don't think it's it's not a culture like it was down in the U in the '80s and the '90s.
Understandable.
But does that? What are you thinking, Nick?
I kind of completely agree with you. I mean, a lot of people are going to look at this as a representation as a whole of Florida State athletics, not just football as well. But I mean, like you guys said, you can't judge the entire body by the few. I mean, no, I completely agree with both of you.
Yep. Well, moving on from there, and DeAndre Johnson, we have a similar connection here with, abuse to Hope Solo. She committed some domestic abuse herself, but she was still able to play in the World Cup for the women, who won 5-2 over Japan in the final of the FIFA Women's World Cup. So the big question here is, I'm not really going to talk about the game or the team in particular, but do you guys really think that soccer can become a major sport in the USA now with how people are getting fired up for these World Cup games?
I mean,
no.
it can. But the MLS is going to have to become vastly better in order for that to happen. I mean, people aren't going to pay to go watch say teams in the English Premier League or teams like FC Barcelona or all those other
Real
teams who are
Madrid.
good, or Real Madrid. They're not going to go pay to watch them because flights and all that, but and plus people aren't going to pay to watch the MLS because there's not that good of a product being put on.
Yeah,
That
I agree.
once the
people love
MLS
to get
gets more
together and
talented,
support.
I can see that. It's kind of like what happened with the NBA back in the um, back when the 70s and 80s and 90s and all that. Once the talent started being more flashy and being more abundant, people started watching the NBA more, which is why basketball is a large sport here now. It's just a matter of the talent within the league uh, being being how. I mean, let's face it, the MLS is that there's not
It's a
much talent
joke.
in it.
It's a joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean the MLS is essentially the European League of basketball. We can
The
pretty much
MLS is to the EuroLeague, like say the English Premier League is to the NBA.
yeah, yeah, pretty much. I mean they don't have the talent to draw crowds.
Hmm.
It's pretty much as simple as that. So I agree with you there. It needs to be. We need a league here in the United States that's going to give out a good product. You're going to have to somehow draw in some of the best players in the world, which let's be real, are probably not. But that's what it's going to have to take for it to really rival baseball, football, and basketball. But there's a but here. The World Cup can be big. I think the World Cup can be big because it's a bonding type of experience for the U.S. Anytime Americans can come together, cheer on their favorite team, go America, that whole thing is great.
Yeah, but can a sport truly be considered big in a country if people only care about it once every 4 years?
No, but
No.
that was what I was trying to say. I think it's only going to be a big deal when the World Cup is on.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of feel like you guys do, but I almost want to think that soccer eventually will. I'm not saying it'll become level with the three major sports here, but I think it will eventually become a lot bigger deal than it is.
Yeah, yeah, that's
But
fair.
it's not going
It'll
to be
grow.
for a long.
Yeah, once Atlanta FC or whatever their team name is going to be called comes in, I think the MLS is going to make a giant jump. No, I'm kidding, of course. I doubt many people know Atlanta's even getting a soccer team.
I didn't. I didn't know that.
They're
I
getting
knew
a
it.
soccer
I didn't
team
know.
once the new football stadium opens, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Hmm. Yeah, but I soccer will grow, but I don't think it'll grow enough to the level of the other sports, the other professional
I
sports.
totally agree.
It's just a matter of will the stars align? Just a matter of how everything falls. If the if a ton of talent starts coming into the MLS via overseas or the product in the native like the U.S. citizens, they start somehow becoming great at soccer, then or football, whatever you want to call it.
Well,
Um,
that's the only thing about it. I just people overseas like, they don't get into baseball like we do. They don't get into football, obviously, because I mean, they play rugby and stuff. But I mean, that's more in the Europe. I'm not going to generalize. It's more in Europe than anything. And I mean, basketball is, I mean, that's international. But I just think
There's what?
did he leave? Did he cut out?
I guess Ross didn't care to finish his point, but yeah, it's a thing of will the stars come?
Yeah,
Are they
exactly
gonna
what
Are
I
they
just
gonna
said.
come? Yeah, no, yeah.
Literally,
You
word for
got
word.
you need Lionel Messi's to come over. It's pretty much as simple as that. I mean, it really is. I mean, people are gonna go to a soccer game to see the players.
Yeah, and while we're on the topic of soccer, kind of bridging the gap between two different sports here, but Rory McIlroy. ruptured a ligament in his ankle while playing soccer. Uh, it's kind of unfortunate that that happened, but the overall question that's being brought up with this is should athletes play other sports and risk injury?
Do whatever they want.
Well, I used Terrell Suggs. I know Terrell Suggs a few years ago back. He got hurt playing basketball. I know there's been several instances. You could throw out a lot of different guys, but right now McIlroy is questionable for the British Open, which if he ended up missing that because he played soccer, would be a catastrophe for him because obviously that is his tournament. That's that's his big one. So
And
go ahead, Christopher.
here's the thing about athletes playing other sports. Like you see this almost 100% of the time during the off season. Would you rather have your athlete who's being paid X amount of millions of dollars spending his time on the couch or out being active, staying in shape, and just keeping his body where it should be? I mean, should they play other sports during the off season? Absolutely. It'll help. It helps them. Excuse me. It'll help them maintain what they're trying to achieve, and it sure the risk of injury comes with it, but then again, it's a risk. You don't see many cases of oh, I don't know, Kyle Korver broke his arm catching a game-winning touchdown in flag football league. You don't see that often. That's how obscure it is.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of with Chris to a point on this one, just because, I mean, this could have happened. I mean, it probably doesn't really apply to Rory McIlroy. I mean, with golf, but this could, especially with other sports and other athletes, this could have happened. Like injuries like this could have happened with them just training by themselves, even with their own sport. Let alone, I mean, it's still active. It still keeps them in shape. It's still pretty much training themselves. I mean, it could have happened anyway.
And nobody's going to bring up should they stop training in the off season in
Exactly.
fear of
No, no. That would just be stupid.
But I
They,
mean,
they,
I
they,
understand that Roy McIlroy playing soccer instead of, I mean, with golf, it's a completely different scenario, but
exactly, but
it's
the
still,
question brought up is should
yeah,
athletes play other sports?
I would. I mean, I agree with you guys. In the end, you're not going to stop them from playing. I mean, for example, I mean, this is a situation I'll have to deal with because I'm going to play college golf next year. Is will I play basketball around in the gym or throw a football around and play flag football? I mean, for me, there's no doubt I'm going to play basketball in the gym when I go to college. I'll be playing pickup games all the time. So, but there's a level of caution that you have to play with. Certainly, you can't go all out. You can't act like you aren't an athlete in another sport. You still have to be careful with how you're playing. You can't be too rough, things of that nature. Which I don't know what McIlroy was doing. Maybe he was playing like that. But in the end, I agree. I think it's so obscure at this point that it's more of just an unfortunate situation if you do get hurt because you could get hurt doing a lot of other things. I mean, it's like saying, you can't drive a car because you might get in a car crash and die. It's kind of like that same situation. It's
Hmm.
don't NBA teams need to stop taking airplanes because they could get in a plane crash.
Hmm. This kind of leads into our uh, off-topic point of the day. Is it worse to fail at something or to have never tried at all?
This was an interesting question brought up,
You're welcome.
and I don't really feel like answering it first. So
Um,
let's go.
Here's the thing. You're not going to get anything done if you don't try it. Sure, you may fail, but you learn something on the way. There's no sense in not trying something if you have the ability to. Sure, if you don't have the ability to, then it's okay if you don't try it. Like I'm not going to go jump off my roof and fly because I literally cannot.
Crystal meth.
That'll
We'll
work.
just put some wings on you, Christopher, and then you'll fly.
But
I'll give you some crystal meth.
It-
You might think you can fly.
it's this question is silly to me. I mean, it's one of the most fundamental philosophical questions you will ever be asked. But you have in order to succeed, you have to do, and if you do not do, then you cannot succeed. It's I
It's
mean,
about as
you
simple
have
as
to
that.
try.
Yeah, it's as simple as that. You're not gonna do. I mean, pretty much what you just said is pretty much what I was gonna say. I don't think there's much else to this. If you say, if you go against what Christopher just said, then you're just gonna be
You
a
have a fear
failure
of
in life.
failure.
You're gonna be a failure in life. I mean,
And you're
even
wrong.
yeah, you're just flat out wrong. You have to do things. You have to try things in order to get anywhere in life, really. And even through failure, you're gonna learn things. At the time, you might think that it was a failure. Man, why did this happen? Why did I do this? But after you sit down and think about it, you can say, I learned this or that from it. So, and then there's those times when you tried and you succeeded, and maybe it's just that one time that you tried something that you didn't think would happen, and that's your big break in life. But
Like journalism.
yeah, yeah, we uh we went for it, and
We're still flopping. We'll
we're
find a
s-
way.
I don't know if we failed yet or not, but I hope not. No, we're good, but we it, it's something where you can't let fear rule your decisions for sure. That's the kicker here. What Nick or Ross? I know you're not
Yeah.
very
I,
philosophical, but
I'm pretty much the opposite of philosophical, but I don't really have. I don't know what else to add because I mean I completely agree with you guys. I mean I guess you can technically make the point it depends on the situation or the circumstance, but I mean there's really nothing to add in
yeah.
my opinion.
Well, what about this question to finish us off for the night? Can you actually experience anything objectively?
No, especially in journalism, because anything you do is subjective. I mean, you choose what you want to talk about. Sure, you may be bringing up facts and points that help prove it along, and you may think you're being objective, but in all reality, you're being subjective. You chose what you wanted to talk about. I mean, the closest you can get to objective is just to be fair. Tell both sides of the argument if there is an argument put up in front of you. Let me preface it with that. You have to tell both sides as though they are equal. That's the closest to objective as you're going to get. But you literally it's nigh impossible to be objective, especially in journalism.
Well, I think journalism, you have to differentiate here. There's journalism, which is supposed to be straight objective, and then
Which is impossible.
there's blogging, colonism, and stuff like that. That's just a little bit more subjective. I think there is. I understand where you're coming from. There's certainly a level of subjectivity in whatever you do. There's always some kind of bias, something that you're going to be favorable towards. But in journalism, where you're just presenting, if you're talking about a story, if you're presenting a story with just facts and things that you've been told, I'm not sure where subjectivity falls into play.
You chose what to talk about.
Well,
You're
not
still being
technically.
subjective on what you're talking about. There's still some subjectivity there because you chose. Sure, maybe you were assigned to, hey, talk about this. Then somebody else was subjective saying, hey, you need to talk about this. There's it's almost impossible to be
Well,
objective in a case.
well, let's say this: news comes out that LaMarcus Aldridge signed with Spurs. You have to talk about that in your article,
And you choose to talk about it.
but I mean, you have to.
You
I
don't
mean,
have to.
that's
That's the
the
thing. You don't.
I mean, if you want a job, you do. I mean, if you want to keep your job, you
Exactly.
have to write an article about that.
But
So
What if I don't
basically,
want to
this
keep
is
my
a
job?
this is a question of choosing. You have
no,
Are
the
you choosing whether to do something or not?
no, the question is, can you truly experience objectivity?
No.
That's the initial question, not whether or not you can choose to do something or another. The initial
Well,
question brought up was
objectivity is just being fair among all points.
no, that is wrong.
How would you define objectivity?
Stating something without any form of bias or hold up.
Without an influence from an inner
Yes,
feeling
without
or
any.
emotion.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
then,
you can.
so are
Being
you
I
saying?
fair
agree with
is not
Christopher.
enough to be objective because again, I mean,
Well, then if we're talking about emotion with objectivity, then objectivity doesn't really even exist because there's some kind of emotion behind every decision. Is that kind of what you're trying to
Unless
say,
you
Christopher?
say first thing that pops into your head.
Is that kind of the argument you're trying to make?
say that again. I couldn't quite make it out.
It's it's basically if we're talking about emotion and objectivity being trying to, eliminate any type of emotion, and that's pretty much impossible because every decision is always driven from some type of emotion. That's just life. So
Here's
are you saying
here's
that's
the
why?
official. This is going along with what you said. The official definition of objective uh, of a person or their judgment, not influenced by personal feelings or opinions, considering and representing facts.
Yeah.
There's a difference. Like what I think you're trying to say. You're trying to, and correct me if I'm wrong here. You're kind of saying object being objective is being the same as impartial, which is not true. Being impartial is basically presenting, if there's an argument in front of you, presenting both sides as equal, giving the case for giving the case for this side and giving the case for that side, and not trying to put any sort of spin on it to make one side look better than the other. That's being impartial. That's not being objective. I mean, you're still influenced to do it. That's the thing. You still have some sort of subjectivity behind it. It may appear objective, but in all actuality, it's just being impartial. You get what I'm trying to say?
No, I understand what you're saying. So, I mean, I guess anything in which you make a decision, there's some kind of feeling or emotion behind it. So is
Yeah.
that what you're trying to suggest? That basically anything you do is going to be subjective anyway?
Anything you do is because,
You chose to do it.
yeah,
I'm kind of on Chris with this. I mean, you're never. I don't feel like you can reach true objectivity.
No, I think
Like yeah,
no, I can agree with you there, especially when you're just talking about something when you're presenting something to somebody. When you're debating, especially debating, there's definitely subjectivity. No doubt, definitely a lot of subjectivity. But I think no, I've learned this a lot with working on in newspapers and journalism. Is there's a certain level of objectivity that you have to abide by. And
see, I'm sorry to
go
interrupt you here,
go
but
ahead.
I just want to get this point across before it's out of my head. What I'm thinking, like I said before, you're confusing, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, and sorry if I sound like I'm judging you or anything like that,
No,
but you're
I know you're talking about
confusing,
impartiality. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. You're confusing objectivity with being fair or impartial.
No, because objectivity is, at least a journalism sense, is you're supposed to
State the facts.
state the facts without any kind of
Spin
input,
on it.
without any
Yeah.
kind of input on it, without any kind of emotional thought behind it. It's more of a this is what he said. this happened, these statistics happened, this and that, whatever. This is
Exactly.
this is the story. I'm presenting you the story of what happened. So that's where I guess it's almost a mix of impartiality and objectivity to a certain degree. I mean, I'm not sure if there's. I mean, if you want to call it impartiality, you can, but I just know that I think in writing, you can be objective. I think that's fair to say that you can be objective
Unless
in
you're
your
me.
writing, from a journalistic sense. Obviously, you're subjective in which the topic you choose to talk about.
Which makes what you're talking about subjective because you still chose to talk about it. It's at the very base of it. If you're subjective about what you write about, then what you're writing is subjective. It may appear fair and impartial and words similar to that I cannot think of that are in my mind right now, but it's still at the very base of it. It's still subjective, if you get what I'm saying.
No,
One thing cannot be objective and subjective at the same time.
I feel it's kind of like a two-way street because, like, to a certain degree, and nothing can be objective then because you're
Exactly.
always making some kind of decision in life. Then there is no such thing as objectivity.
And we've reached an agreement.
I mean, is that pretty much what you're trying to say?
I'm sure
Since-
there might be some cases of objectivity, but none come to mind.
because there's if we're suggesting that objectivity is eliminating all sort of type of emotion, then the only way objectivity is reached is through computer or
Or a
robot.
rock.
Or robot.
Rocks are very
Rock.
objective. Ross, got anything to add to that?
No, I don't like this conversation
we're
at all.
just gonna leave off on the fact
that note.
rocks are objective.
On that note,
What a way to end a podcast.
I think this past 2 hours now. Gonna have
Yeah,
to
the last
well-
15 minutes I was on Twitter, I was paying no attention to
a
you
well
guys.
spent time talking about NBA free agency, as well as
too much
DeAndre
time
Johnson.
about DeAndre Jordan and how legitimate his contract is.
We spent way too much time talking about DeAndre's tonight. That's a fun.
You spent way too much time. Regardless, we're not
No,
getting on the
just
subject
the-
again.
Just
Thank you for
DeAndre's in
listening.
general.
It's been fun. We had
Good.
And
Bye.
Ross Cheshire. Say something, Ross.
Bye.
Wait,
Nick Olinger.
Bye.
Hayes
and-
Roop.
yeah,
I'm not letting him say anything. And me, Chris Kaufman. Have a good
Oh.
night. See you later. This is Youngspeak. Follow us on Twitter and whatnot. Hayes wants more followers because he's greedy.
I am not greedy. I am
No, we already ended.
driven. I am
We already ended.
at Youngspeak Sports. We talked about too much DeAndre.
They know what we talked about. It's the end of the podcast.
They listen to it all.
If they're at this point, and I commend you for doing so, I don't know how you sat through Hayes' inane ramblings on how DeAndre Jordan should. Wow, I'm turning into Stephen A. Smith.
You are turning into Stephen A. Smith, but DeAndre Jordan should not be paid $80 million. I'm telling you right now.
Ridiculous.
Goodbye.
Very philosophical tonight, but that is all in good interest. And with that, we wrap it up with here. Good night, everybody.